How's it going out there, everyone? W.F.S here with a question for you today. Does canon matter in the Star Trek universe anymore? The third season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds has dropped, and from the looks of the trailer, it is quite obvious that they really don't give a damn about canon anymore. In a previous video, I talked about this trailer and how I feel like they just ignored the history of Star Trek, and people seem to be quite fine with it. For me, history, not just real history, but science fiction history, is very important. So when I ask somebody, does the canon of a franchise or the history of the characters matter, I'm hoping that the answer is yes, it does matter. It really is important, at least to me it is. This particular scene right here is an example of why history matters. The holodeck. It looks to me like in Season 3, they will have a holodeck on the Enterprise. Now, my introduction to the holodeck came from Star Trek The Next Generation. This was the first time I was introduced to a holodeck, in that first episode of TNG Encounter at Farpoint. And I honestly believe this is the first time that many Star Trek fans were introduced to it. Now, there are other people out there, and including various articles out today, suggesting that this is not the first time we were introduced to a holodeck in the Star Trek universe.
Well, what'll it be? A swim at the beach?
Star Trek the Animated Series introduced their version of the holodeck in the second season, in the first episode, The Practical Joker. But the reason I bring this up is because of a historical fact that seems to be overlooked regarding this series and how it has been treated in regards to the rest of the Star Trek franchise. It seems that back when Star Trek The Next Generation was really starting to kick off, Roddenberry was afraid of licensing problems, so he went to Paramount and asked them to decanonize Star Trek The Animated Series. Star Trek The Animated Series was initially considered non-canonical by Gene Roddenberry and later by Paramount, but it's now considered part of the main Star Trek canon. But this is where I have my problems. You see, down below here, Paramount largely honored Roddenberry's decision, and the events from TAS were usually not referred to in live-action Trek and were not incorporated in any official reference works. So the only reason that the holodeck in Star Trek The Animated Series is being even mentioned now is because back in 2010 they decided to put it back into the main canon. But the problem here is the fact that up until that point, up until then, this series had no recognition whatsoever because Star Trek The Animated Series did not count in its holographic technology because it was non-canonical. Does that mean that this matters? Does Strange New Worlds, or is Strange New Worlds, guilty of ripping off from TNG? Because in the original series, there was no holodeck. And I'm not talking about the animated series, I am talking about the original live series. There was no holodeck. It was a ship of exploration. They didn't have all these luxuries. All of a sudden, in Strange New Worlds, Captain Pike his quarters are so huge he can afford to have a fireplace and a kitchen in it. And now we have a holodeck. I'm just saying that could it possibly be that we're inflicting so much damage to the history of Star Trek by adding all these things to modern day Strange New Worlds? I honestly think that they are really not respecting the history of the thing that helped get them where they are now. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on whether Strange New Worlds is violating canon or they just don't even give a damn anymore. Drop those comments below and let me know. Until the next time, my friends, God bless.